This morning, we're going to be in the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7. 2 Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7. I don't know about you all, but I'm a sports guy. Athletics, keep up with college, keep up with the pros, keep up with the semi-pros, keep up with the semi-pros, keep up with football, basketball, any of it. And strangely enough, this year has been a year of comebacks. Iron Mike Tyson fought last night. I don't know if anybody knows. I don't know if anybody cares. But Iron Mike Tyson hasn't fought in like 15 years. The guy's over the age of 50, and he's probably in the best shape of his life. I've seen some of the video clips he's put out there. He announced the comeback. I think it was Roy Jones Jr. is who he fought last night. The match ended up in a draw, which he was okay with because he didn't lose. And the other guy was like, well, draws. I don't do draws. I wear draws, you know. And so I don't know if they're going to have a rematch or not, but it was good to see a comeback. And I thought to myself, okay, here's a guy that's fighting. You know, he's a fighter. For whatever reason, he enjoys getting hit in the head. He takes body blows. But man, oh man, he was fast. He was tough. It just, from what I read, clips I saw, he was his own self. And so I got to thinking about how, you know, in this day and age, where, you know, it's coming on the holidays. Christmas is now on its way. Thanksgiving was a few days ago. And so I just thought about how, you know, this more than ever, at the end of the year, as time is wallowing down on 2020, we just need to keep on fighting. We just got to keep on fighting. So 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7 says this. And let me give a little bit of history, a little bit of background to this. This is Timothy writing. Timothy's coming towards the end of his life. Timothy was a right-hand man to Paul. Paul was a huge influence in a lot of different churches. The Church of Thessalonica, the Church of Ephesus, the Church of Corinth. He wrote letters to all these people. And so in this particular verse, he's talking about how, you know, he's been through things and he's done this stuff and he's you know, he's looking towards the twilight of his life. And he wrote these words. It says here in verse number 7, it says, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. And so I was thinking about it, and I'm thinking about how, you know, how can we take these words and how can we turn them into a present tense context. And so you can do that, and I'm not changing the words of the Bible. I'm just changing my points to be able to make a point, make it applicable. And so first point that I have this morning is I am fighting a good fight. You know, we just mentioned the word boxing, the sport of boxing. And those guys, they sit there and they swap blow for blow. They take a licking and keep on ticking, just like the old Timex watches used to do. Punch for punch, constant movement. I mean, they have to have super endurance to be able to make it 10 rounds, 5 rounds, sometimes 15 rounds in a heavyweight championship match. I mean, and these guys, they just keep on fighting. They just keep on going. We are now entering the month of December, the very last month of 2020. We've gone through 11 months of pure and unadulterated chaos. It has been a lot of interesting stuff happen in the first 11 months of this year. I mean, we've gone through the COVID pandemic, we've gone through election stuff, we've gone through celebrity deaths. Tom Petty passed away. I mean, that wasn't exactly a good thing. I miss Tom Petty, I miss his music. But for what it's worth, we've been through 11 months of pure and crazy just chaos. And here we are going into the month of December, and we just got one more month to go before we put whatever has happened this year behind us. It's a lot like a boxing match. A lot like boxing. You know, you got that 12th round, that 13th round, the guy and the opponent over here, you're sitting over here, you're both in your corners, you got your coaches in your ear, and you know what they're doing? They're just amping you up. They're just telling you, keep on going, just keep on taking the blow, keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. And interestingly enough, we don't fight somebody that we can see. You know, we don't fight somebody that we are looking at, staring at them in the eyes, going, man, just go down. No, we fight a spiritual battle. We fight against an individual named Satan. You know, in the Bible, he tells us that he is a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. In Ephesians 6:16, it says this. Oh, there it is. Ephesians 6:16 says this. Well, actually, let me back up for a second. Ephesians 6:10 through 17 actually refers to putting on the whole armor of God. It refers to the fact that you're being attacked. It refers to the fact that you can't take a blow from Satan without having some kind of protection on. You know, whether it's the helmet, whether it's the breastplate, whether it's the shoes on your feet, whether it's the gird, the loincloth, whatever it might be, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be able to prepare ourselves for that thing. And in Ephesians 6:16, it says this: Satan is not just attacking us, but he's using what the Bible calls fiery darts. He's going to use your past. He's going to use the things that you've done in the, 10, 20 years ago. I wasn't exactly an angel back in the day. I don't know about you all. I'd be willing to bet that there were some pretty crazy people in this here room doing some pretty crazy stuff at the times. And he's going to throw that in your face. Because that's what he does. He's going to pick at you. He's going to gnaw at that little spot, that little chink in your armor to the point where he finds that weakness. That's what a fiery dart is, right? Fire spreads as soon as it finds a weak point. As soon as it finds an opportunity to gain hold of something, a fire will go. That's why it's a fiery dart, in my opinion. That's why it's described that way. Listen, that's what Satan does. You're sitting over here in your corner and you're getting all the advice and you're getting amped up and you're getting encouraged. And over here, Satan's just going, yeah, but I know what you did that one time. Yeah, but I remember when you were 16 and you took that car and you did some stuff that you weren't supposed to do and you went a little faster than what you were supposed to drive. And or whatever the case may be. Fiery darts. Ephesians 6:16 reminds us of that. In fact, like I said, the whole 7 verses remind us that we have to be able to put on the whole armor of God. Why? Because in this day and age, we have to remember that we are fighting a good fight. It's not over yet. The final bell hasn't rung. The fat lady has not sung. The proverbial fat lady has not sung. It's still going. You still have a reason to keep on fighting. Want to know why? Because there's one more month of 2020, and then guess what? A whole new set of 12 months comes along. Guess what 2020 or 2021 is going to hold for us? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's pretty simple. I am fighting a good fight. Why? Because that's what's necessary. It's what's called upon us to do. I could tell you boxing. Those guys just sit there and just take blow for blow. You have to be willing to do the same thing. You got to be able to withstand the fiery darts of the devil. You got to put on the whole armor of God. You got to protect yourself. You got to know what you know. You got to believe what you know. You got to read. You got to pray. You've got to put yourself in a position where you can withstand it. Because as I said, he's going to pick at you and he's going to find that weakness and it's just going to gnaw at you because he knows that that's what's going to take to knock you down. Number 2, and we're moving on. It says this. It says, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. So I ask you a question. Or not a question. It says this. I am finishing my course. I am finishing my course. Everybody in here is from the South for the most part. Everybody in here likes NASCAR, right? Big honking track where you make left-hand turns the entire time. Yeah, those guys, I don't know about you, but if I ever saw them on the road, you don't want to be on the left-hand side of their car because they wouldn't do anything but left-hand turns. They probably would go around the block about 6 or 7 times before they realize that they're actually where they're supposed to be. NASCAR, right? NASCAR is a sport of perseverance. NASCAR is the sport where you could sit in a vehicle and drive as fast as you want, and the highway patrol officer sitting up there in the stands are going, man, I wish I could catch that guy. NASCAR is the sport where you can get the Iron Bun Award because you're sitting there as a spectator and as a driver for 4.5 hours in one place wishing something would happen other than just a left-hand turn. NASCAR, finishing your course. It's not just about who can finish first. It's about who can concentrate on not wrecking somebody. It's about who can, rubbing's racing, right? Rubbing's racing. It's about who can get as close as they can to, intimidating somebody else to make that mistake. It's about racing. It's about finishing the race. It's about finishing first. As Ricky Bobby once said, if you ain't first, you're last. Right? That's NASCAR. NASCAR. So, but too many times, ladies and gentlemen, we get tripped up. We get tripped up. They always say that life is not a sprint, it is a what? It's a marathon. It takes a while, right? It takes a while to get through. And guess what? We're almost to the end of 2020. Again, 12 more months rolling around. Here comes your marathon. It ain't about sprinting through the rest. It's about sprinting through the rest of this year, and then it's about marathoning through the rest of through the beginning of next year. But listen to this. 2 Thessalonians 3:13 says this. Let me see if I can find my thing here. Uh-oh. Okay, 1 second. It just fell down. 2 Thessalonians. Well, that's okay. We'll go to Galatians. Galatians 6:9 says this. It says this, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. It says this, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. That was Galatians 6:9, in case anybody's taking notes. Listen, as long as we are doing God's work, and as long as you're pushing forward for God, for the cause of Christ, as long as you are not looking back and thinking, man, I'm just a big honking mess up. I messed this up and I messed this up and it just failure after failure after failure. As long as you're looking forward and as long as you are pushing forward, you are finishing your course. You're finishing your course. Let us not be weary in well-doing. Listen, there are volunteers. There are the medical field out there. It's just exploding right now. Miss Yoson Tracy had told us last week that she just wore out. She's just tired. School teachers, medical peoples, first aid responders. My brother-in-law is a firefighter. I mean, he's seeing COVID. He's seeing accidents. He's seeing people go off and do some really crazy, silly things, and they just get tired of it. But you know what? They keep on going. They're finishing the course. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to do the same thing. God tells us that He's going to strengthen us. He's going to be with us. He's going to push us. He's going to hold us up. And then right here it says, and let us not be weary in well-doing. What's well-doing? Doing what's right. It's doing what's right. It's for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. I planted a flower garden. And the old Boynton the green thumb came through, and it's still working its magic because none of my plants have died yet. I was informed last night that they haven't died because there hasn't been a good frost. So when the frost comes along, the green thumb will then perish, which is okay. I can go out and I can get some more plants because you know what? They look good. They look nice. If you go out and you plant a garden, you have to plant at a certain season, a certain time. My grandfather used the almanac. He would plant on October 21st because it was the right alignment with the moon and the stars and the gravitational pull of the earth or something along those lines. And he would plant certain plants in certain times, and you know what? He would keep on going, and he would keep on going. He wouldn't faint not. And you know what? Those plants that he would grow, the potatoes, the watermelon, the squash, the cucumbers, man, Lord, he would have cucumbers coming out of your ears. He reaped what he sowed, because he didn't give up on it. He didn't give up on it. Teachers in this world are not giving up on their students. I can promise you right now, if they had me back in the day when I was a student, they would have been like, no hope. I'm out. But they keep on going. Medical individuals this day and age, they're just like, man, what a bunch of nincompoops going out and partying and doing all these crazy, silly things that y'all do. But they still get up and they still come to work because they still have patients to take care of. They're finishing the course. We have to continue to finish our course, ladies and gentlemen. We have to continue to press on. Moving forward to my last point, it says this. It says, I am keeping the faith. I am keeping the faith. James chapter 1, verse 3 says this. And actually, I'm going to back up to verse 2. It says, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, Verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Now, I don't know about you, but my children work my patience. I'm sure, they work my patience. And it's a good thing because, when they continue to do exactly what I tell them not to do, you just put a big smile on your face and say, oh, they're just so cute, and they're just so adorable, and they're just so lovely, and they're just so, all of the stuff that you just tell yourself not to go crazy. But interestingly enough, this verse applies to just more than raising kids. It applies to our lives. It applies to what we're going through in this day and age. It applies to what we're going to go through later on. It applies to what we've been through. Everything we've done has brought us to this point. Everything we're doing will take us to another point. And all in all, it says this, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. It's being able to know that God is there even when it feels like he's anywhere but. And I promise you, there are a lot of people in this right now, in this day and age, that don't remember the last time they felt God near. They just don't. They've lost their faith. They've lost their way. They've lost their hope. They've lost, whatever it is to them. We as individuals, we as Christian people, we as a congregation that gather here at this place, we need to be that beacon of hope. We need to be able to show them that patience is not a bad thing, that holding on and having faith is not a bad thing, that being able to believe in something that you can't see and pray to somebody that you can't hear and all that stuff is not, it's not foolish. Because a lot of people will say, well, why do you pray to a God that you can't see, can't hear, don't talk back to you? I don't know. Are you breathing air right now? You can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't touch it, but you know what? You are. It's about faith. I am keeping the faith. It's knowing that when you ask for forgiveness for the things that you've done, when you go to bed at night and you lay your head down on your pillow, whether you always see the paintings of the little kids that are kneeling down by their beds, and you see the stories about how the parents are kneeling down with them. I've seen Instagram clips where the owner of a dog is saying, "Let's pray before we eat," and the little dog is like kneeling before his food bowl, which is the cutest thing ever. I wish I could train my dog to do that, but it's about knowing that when you pray and you ask for forgiveness and you pray and you ask for the Lord to bless your family and to thank Him and thank Him and thank Him over and over and over for the things that you've got in this world, guess what? He's not only listening, but He's preparing you for your next blessing that you're going to get. That's faith. But faith worketh patience, which means that when you're asking for that thing to come in your life, whether it's a promotion, whether it's a raise, whether it's another baby, whether it's whatever it's marriage, if you're looking to marry the right person or know if it's the right person that you're dating even, you have to have patience. But overall, faith working patience, keeping the faith, is being able to know that when you ask for forgiveness, that you're going to get it. That you're going to get it for all the things you've done. Now, I don't know about you, but the list is long for me. I've been saying this for a while now that I need to take my wife, Melissa, and my two kids, hopefully not we'll drop them off at the grandparents' house. It's a long way to Kansas. But I've been telling myself, okay, I got to take her out there, let her see the old homestead. But you know what? Some of my buddies are still out there, and they might have stories that I've forgotten to tell, and things along those lines. And it's like, I don't really know if I want that or not. I don't know if I would be able to forgive myself for the things I did then, and I don't know if my wife would be able to forgive me for not telling her about the things I did then. But you got to have faith, right? You got to have faith. Listen, Timothy said it best, and this was back in his day. He said, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept my faith. And today I want to challenge you. I just want to challenge you. Are you fighting a good fight? Are you finishing your course? Are you staying steadfast? Are you doing what's necessary for your, not just for your testimony, but for showing other people the testimony of what God's done in your life. Are you keeping your faith?